My girlfriend barked, "Stop checking where I go after work. You don't own me." I replied, "Perfect." That evening, I boxed all her belongings and returned them to the place she called just a coworker's house. When she realized who opened the door, the color drained from her face. I'm 34, and I'd been with her for almost 3 years. We'd been living together for the past year and a half in my apartment, a place I'd owned outright before we even met. She moved in after about 6 months of dating, which, looking back, was probably too soon. But things seemed solid. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our plans for the future. Or at least I thought we did. The weird behavior started about 4 months ago. She'd always been social, always had work friends she'd grab drinks with occasionally. That wasn't new. What was new was the frequency and the secrecy. She'd come home at 9, 10, sometimes 11 at night, claiming team dinners or last-minute work drinks. Her phone became an extension of her hand, always face down, always locked, always within arm's reach. I'm not naturally a suspicious person. I don't go through phones or play detective. But when someone's behavior shifts that dramatically, you notice. The late nights became a pattern. 3, sometimes 4 times a week. When I'd ask about her evening, she'd give vague answers. Just the usual crew. You don't know them. It's boring work stuff. The excuses were always slightly different, but fundamentally the same. Team building exercises that ran late. A colleague's birthday celebration. Project deadlines requiring after-hours collaboration. Each excuse seemed plausible on its own, but together they formed a pattern that didn't add up. I started noticing she'd shower immediately when she got home, even though she'd showered that morning. She'd changed her perfume to something lighter, less noticeable. Then came the defensiveness. I asked her one evening if everything was okay, if work was stressing her out. She snapped at me like I'd accused her of something heinous. "Why are you interrogating me? I'm allowed to have a life outside this apartment." I wasn't interrogating her. I was asking a basic question that partners ask each other. But suddenly, any curiosity about her day was treated like an invasion of privacy. "I'm just asking how your day was," I said calmly. "No, you're keeping tabs on me," she shot back. "You want to control every aspect of my life." That stung because it wasn't true. I'd never been controlling. I'd always encouraged her friendships, her career, her independence. But now, somehow, basic relationship communication had become oppression in her mind. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. She'd texted me around 6 saying she'd be home late again. Another work thing. I'd made dinner, ate alone, and by 9:30, I was just annoyed. Not suspicious yet, just tired of the pattern. When she finally walked in around 10, I asked her where she'd been. "Out with coworkers," she said, not looking at me. "Which coworkers?" I asked. She froze. "Why does it matter?" "It doesn't," I said. "I'm just making conversation." "You're checking up on me," she said, her voice rising. "You're always checking up on me." "I asked you a question," I said, staying calm. "That's not checking up. That's called having a conversation with someone you live with." That's when she exploded. "Stop checking where I go after work. You don't own me. I don't have to report every single thing I do to you. This is suffocating." I stared at her for a moment. The anger, the defensiveness, the way she was making me the villain for asking a simple question. It all clicked into place. This wasn't about privacy or independence. This was guilt manifesting as aggression. "Perfect," I said. She blinked. "What? Perfect?" I repeated. "You're right. I don't own you. You don't owe me anything." I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my laptop, and sat down at the kitchen table. She followed me, suddenly less certain. "What are you doing?" "Checking something," I said. I pulled up our shared phone plan. We'd combined accounts about a year ago to save money. One of those couple things that seemed practical at the time. I'd never looked at the usage details before. Never had a reason to. But now I did. I scrolled through her call logs and text records from the past month. There was one number that appeared constantly. Multiple calls every day, texts at all hours. The pattern was unmistakable. Calls during her lunch break, texts late at night, long phone conversations that lasted over an hour. I didn't recognize it. "Who's this?" I asked, turning the laptop toward her. Her face went white. "That's none of your business." "It's on our shared account," I said. "So technically, it is my business." "Who is it?" She stammered for a second, then said, "A coworker. We work on projects together." "What's their name?" I asked. She hesitated too long. "Why does it matter?" "Because you're texting and calling this person 50 times a day," I said. And you're coming home at 10 at night multiple times a week. So I'll ask again. What's their name? You're being paranoid, she said, but her voice shook. I stood up. Pack your things. What? Pack your things, I repeated. Tonight. You can stay somewhere else while you figure out what you want, but I'm not doing this. She tried to argue, tried to flip it back on me, saying I was overreacting, that I was jealous and controlling. But I wasn't interested in the conversation anymore. I went to the bedroom, pulled out 2 large suitcases from the closet, and started filling them with her clothes. She stood in the doorway, watching. You're seriously kicking me out? Yes, I said. You can come back this weekend to get the rest, but you're not staying here tonight. She started crying, saying I was being cruel, that she hadn't done anything wrong. I didn't respond, just kept packing. Clothes, shoes, toiletries, everything I could fit into those 2 bags. When they were full, I set them by the door. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. I don't know, I said. Maybe your coworker's place. The one you talk to 50 times a day. Her face went pale again. I can't. Why not? I asked. If it's just a coworker, I'm sure they wouldn't mind helping you out. She stared at me, trapped. After a long silence, she grabbed the suitcases and left. She slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat on the couch, replaying the past few months in my head. All the late nights, the secrecy, the defensiveness. I felt like an idiot for not seeing it sooner. But then again, you don't expect the person you love to lie to your face every single day. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I needed the day to think. Around 10, I got a text from her. Can we talk? I didn't respond. She called. I didn't answer. Then she sent a long message. I stayed at a friend's place last night. I'm sorry for how I reacted. You're right. I should have been more open with you. Can we please talk about this? A friend's place, not the coworker's place. Interesting. I decided I needed answers. Real answers. So I did something I'm not proud of, but I don't regret it either. I went through her laptop. She'd left it at the apartment, sitting on the coffee table. It wasn't password protected. She'd always been careless about that. I opened her messages. And there it was. Months of conversations with him. The coworker. Flirty texts, late night calls, plans to meet up. Nothing explicitly physical in the messages, but the emotional affair was undeniable. They'd been spending almost every evening together for the past 3 months. Dinners, drinks, long walks, late-night conversations in his car parked by the lake. One message from 2 months ago caught my eye. I wish things were different. I wish we'd met first. His response, maybe we did. Maybe this is just bad timing. Her reply, or maybe it's perfect timing. Maybe I'm finally realizing what I actually want. I felt sick reading it, but I kept going. And the most damning part? She'd told him about our fight. She'd texted him at 11 the night before. He kicked me out. Can I come over? His response, not tonight. My roommate's home. I'll see you tomorrow. So she couldn't even go to him when she needed a place to stay. That told me everything. He was happy to be her escape, her emotional affair, her fantasy, but when reality knocked, he wasn't interested in dealing with the mess. I screenshotted the conversations and emailed them to myself. Then I closed the laptop and sat back. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired, exhausted by the betrayal, by the lies, by the mental gymnastics she'd put me through to make me doubt my own instincts. That evening, I decided to return the rest of her things. She'd texted me again asking to come by and pick up more of her stuff, but I had a better idea. I spent 2 hours boxing up everything she'd left behind. Clothes, books, makeup, photos, everything. I loaded it all into my car. It took 3 trips to fit it all. Then I looked up the address. She'd mentioned his street once in one of her texts to her friend, complaining about parking. A quick search of property records in that area with his first name gave me the exact address. Small town perks. I drove over around 7. It was a small house in a quiet neighborhood. I parked in the driveway, got out, and started unloading boxes onto the front porch. One by one, I stacked them neatly by the door. I wasn't trying to be destructive or cruel, just practical. She wanted to be there, so here were her things. When I was halfway through, the door opened. He stepped out, mid-30s, confused expression, holding a beer. Can I help you? Just returning some things, I said, grabbing another box from my trunk. Returning what? Her stuff, I said. She's been spending all her time here, so I figured this is where it should be. His face went from confused to horrified. Wait, who? Before he could finish, she appeared in the doorway behind him. She must have been inside the whole time. The color drained from her face when she saw me. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Returning your belongings," I said calmly. "You said you needed your stuff. Here it is." She looked at him, then at me, then at the boxes piling up on the porch. "You can't just—" "I can," I said. And I did. "Everything's here. Clothes, toiletries, photos, all of it. You're welcome." He looked at her. "What is he talking about? You said you were staying with a friend." She didn't answer, just stood there, frozen. "You didn't tell him we live together?" I asked her. "Or that we've been together for 3 years?" His face changed. Anger replaced confusion. "You said you broke up months ago." "We broke up 2 days ago," I said. "When I found out about you." I set down the last box, dusted off my hands, and looked at both of them. "Good luck with this," I said, gesturing between them. Then I got in my car and drove away. My phone blew up within minutes. Texts from her, calls from her, voicemails. I ignored all of it. Then I got a message from him. "We need to talk. This isn't what it looks like." I blocked both of them. Over the next few days, I heard bits and pieces through mutual friends. Apparently, she'd been telling him that we were on a break and that I was controlling and jealous. She'd painted me as the bad guy to justify whatever they had going on. When I showed up with all her stuff, he realized she'd been lying. They had a massive fight that night, loud enough that neighbors complained. He told her to leave and never contact him again. She tried contacting me through different numbers, through friends, even showed up at my building once. I didn't engage, just told building security to not let her up. She left a handwritten letter with the doorman that I threw away without reading. 2 weeks later, I got a message from a mutual friend saying she'd moved back in with her parents in another city. Apparently, she'd been let go from her job. Too much drama, too many personal issues bleeding into work. He'd filed a complaint about her behavior after their fight, claiming she'd been harassing him. HR decided it was easier to just let her go rather than deal with the mess. As for him, I heard he got engaged to someone else about a month later. Guess he wasn't as invested as she thought. Turned out he had an on-again, off-again girlfriend the whole time, and they'd gotten back together right before everything blew up. It's been 3 months now. I changed the locks, cleaned out the apartment, donated a bunch of stuff to charity, and honestly, I feel lighter. I'm not angry anymore. I don't hate her. I just feel relieved. Relieved that I saw the truth before wasting any more time. Relieved that I didn't marry her, didn't have kids with her, didn't tie my life to someone who couldn't be honest. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I'm not in a rush. I'm just focusing on myself, my work, my friends. I'm doing things I stopped doing when I was with her. Hiking, traveling, spending time with people who actually respect me. Last weekend, I took a solo camping trip and felt more at peace than I had in months. A few people have told me I was too harsh, that I should have heard her out, given her a chance to explain. But here's the thing. She had plenty of chances to be honest. Every time I asked about her evening, every time I expressed concern, she could have told me the truth. Instead, she gaslit me, made me feel crazy for noticing the obvious, and tried to make me the villain in her story. So no, I don't regret how I handled it. I gave her exactly what she deserved, a reality check delivered in boxes on a doorstep. And honestly, it was the most satisfying thing I've ever done. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate or cruel. It's just showing someone the exact consequences of their choices, delivered with clarity and closure.